Now Ireland have high hopes of making it to the next stage at the Hockey World Cup. They started with a narrow defeat to the number 1 ranked team in the world, Australia. Followed that up with a draw to get their first points on the board, a 1-1 draw with China. On the phone now, on the Skype to reflect with us, we've got Jonny Bell. Jonny, thanks for taking the time out.
No problem.
I suppose first your reflections of that game against China. Does frustration encapsulate what it was? Because plenty of chances created, but in the end you had to settle for a draw.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously we were going into that game looking for the 3 points. We felt that we created enough chances on the day to take the 3 points, but it wasn't to be. Hopefully in time we can show that, well, actually it was a good point. But as I said, it all comes down to our final group game now against England. So all eyes are looking forward to Friday.
Have the performances been pretty encouraging? The fact that you ran Australia all the way. It really didn't look like the number 1 ranked team in the world against the number 10 ranked team in the world. And the fact as well that while you created the chances, you didn't finish them, you still probably did enough to win the game in other aspects against China.
I think so. I think we put in a really good showing. It was our first game of the World Cup, playing the top team in the world. And yeah, I think we can be quite proud of the performance we put in against Australia. Unfortunately, we didn't get a result. And then I suppose going into the China game, we were really looking to press on and get those 3 points. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. I think there were enough positives to take from that game, but we just weren't able to get over the line and get that win. So it tees it up nicely now for Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it is really kind of a winner takes all, but even a draw would be enough for you. Is it still a case of you have to approach it trying to win the game and maybe take the draw completely out of the equation?
Yeah, it's one of those quite risky ones. I think, if you're going into a game looking for a draw, you can get the mentality wrong. So I think absolutely we'll be going in there to get the 3 points and looking to put in a good performance to build on the 2 performances we've had to date, and look to improve in the areas where we think we can make those slight gains. And as I say, execute our game plan. And if we do that, there's no doubt we can get the 3 points.
And when you look at areas to look at improve, I suppose the biggest difference between the sides in your last game against China was their goalkeeper. He just seemed to be on fire. How do you improve, or where will you look to target improvements going into this next game with England?
I think, in terms of the Chinese game, I suppose it's looking to try and execute in the final third. I say that's the entire team. Needs to look just at where we can make those improvements to improve the quality of the circle entries we're getting, and then try and upgrade and get those circle outcomes, whether it be a shot on target or getting a short corner, and try to get our short corners firing.
Now, Ireland only qualified for the World Cup on 2 occasions before this. You have played in big tournaments and big games. Is the lack of experience at a World Cup, is that hampering you in any way, do you fear?
I don't think so. I think we have enough experience in the squad from, for example, playing in the Olympic Games. We have enough players who've been in that environment, and we have a nice blend of youth and experience in the team. And I think it showed in that first game that we weren't fazed by playing on the big stage with the performance we put in against Australia. So I don't think that's the case. And I say there's less pressure on us come Friday. The level of expectation, I suppose, from outside the camp would be on England to get that win, but so that in a way takes a bit of pressure off us, and we can go into that game with no fear, knowing that we have the quality to come through that game with the victory.
You qualified for the Olympics in 2016. I think the same year you won the bronze in the Euro Hockey Championships. Where is Irish hockey at the moment? How positive a place is it in?
Oh, I think I've said this before, that I think Irish hockey is in a great place. It's one of those special chapters, I think, in the history of Irish hockey at the minute, and we want to keep that going, qualifying for these major tournaments and also performing at these major tournaments. So it'd be a really tough hurdle to pass if we could ensure that we get into that crossover game, and it'd be a big step for us. So I say if we get our preparation right and go into that English game with the right mentality and get the performance that we think we can deliver, then I've no doubt we can make it through to the next phase.
You obviously do have the advantage with the differential in the goals. How do you assess England, and have you seen much of their 2 games so far at the tournament?
I have, yeah. I mean, they're a quality outfit. Bit like ourselves, they struggled to convert chances against China. They're a robust and difficult opponent, but I think their game was much improved against Australia. We've had a couple of close games with them in the preparation leading into the World Cup. So we know that they're a quality outfit. They have a number of dangerous players. So I say we'll have to be at our best if we're going to get a result from the game.
You mentioned what a positive place Irish hockey is in at the moment. The success of the women, I mean, they shocked the world. Their achievements at the World Cup were really incredible. Does that add a little bit of extra pressure on you guys, or is that something you nearly relish, the chance to emulate them and their success?
I wouldn't say it adds pressure. I think every time you play for your country and put on that green shirt, there's a level of pressure, especially playing in these major tournaments. So I don't think it has increased the pressure. I suppose maybe it has raised the level of expectation, but as I say, we always expect high standards from one another, and we expect to put in good performances in these tournaments. And I say we can take a lot of belief and a lot of confidence from the quality that we have in our team, and hopefully we can show that on Friday.
It's a relatively new coaching setup as well. What kind of positive differences have they made to the dynamic of the group so far ahead of the World Cup? And indeed, what have you noticed from the first two games, maybe positive impacts of the new coaching staff?
It was quite a short lead-in period to the World Cup that the coaches had. So I say they really just built on the foundations that we already have as a team and made us believe in what we can do. So, they've put a lot of emphasis on our deep defence and the quality of our defending. Which I think has been raised a notch or two over the last number of weeks. And if we can just begin to execute on the counter-attack and with some of our build-up play, we can really build on what we've done so far and hopefully secure that result on Friday. Is
that Australia game, is that the perfect platform for a World Cup? You're going in first day, the expectation, the hope, it's all on them. They're the world champions. They're the number one world ranked team and they just about sneak by you. It's a really, really solid defensive display and Ireland come out with a very, very credible performance even though it's a defeat. Is that the perfect platform to build on a World Cup when you really produce that really solid performance on the first day?
I think so. I think it adds to the belief that we can go toe-to-toe with the top teams and that we can compete at this level. I say the next step now is to go and get a result against one of these teams, and with England ranked above us, that's the perfect opportunity for us to go out and do that. So the game on Friday is nicely teed up with the winner takes all. So hopefully we can put in that performance that we know we're capable of and get that result.
Is a podium place obviously the dream? Is it something you think that is in this group, or is it beyond you maybe at this stage of your development?
Absolutely, that's the dream. And I'm sure it's in there, and there's no doubt that this group can achieve that. We have to just take it one game at a time, and it would be we can't look beyond the English game. That's the most important game for us now, and we just have to have all eyes on that, and we'll take it from there.
And just a final point on England, I mean, anytime Ireland play England in any kind of sporting occasion, hockey, soccer, rugby, it always has that extra bit of niggle. It's always quite a meaningful encounter. What's the England-Ireland rivalry like in the hockey sphere?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some good sort of ding-dong battles with England over the years. We've come out on top on occasions and they've come out on top on occasions. At the end of the day, it boils down to a hockey match of 18 versus 18. And yes, we can read quite a bit into that sort of Irish-English rivalry, but I suppose when it comes down to the game, you just have to try and take that out of your mind and just focus on the hockey and not get carried away with the added emotion or baggage that can come into sort of an Irish-English fixture. But there's no doubt that that kind of fixture will give an added spring to the step and give us that added little bit of motivation come Friday.
Well, Jonny, you will have the nation, a sporting nation behind you cheering you on. So all the best against England this weekend. Thank you, Jonny Bell.
Thank you very much.